Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have Jennifer back. We have not had a conversation for quite some time. We just haven't been able to get anything scheduled. So she is here today and is going to share with you what has been on her mind and some of the information that she's received as well. I'm going to first start with a few things that have come through for me just in this last day for you to consider. And again, like I always say, take what resonates, toss the rest aside, but stay open to all of the information and see how it works out for you as a puzzle piece, maybe to your own journey and to your understanding of what's all going on with us as a collective. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, a spiritual awakening mentor, and a distance energy healer. So I offer these videos to help you along your life journey, your spiritual journey, and your awakening ascension journey. So with that today, I'm going to give you a little bit of what I've received recently. We are heading into the equinox, next week? Yes, I think. I'm hoping to have maybe a little channel on the equinox for you. And, but yet today what they wanted to bring through, it really has to do with the times we're in. And they also talked about how the equinox, the eclipse, the full lunar eclipse was a real, they just said shift. Oh, I just got huge chills. Energetic. Remember, everything's energy that I talk about. Everything that we are experiencing is energy and frequency and vibration. Okay, so that's how I speak, for those of you who haven't listened to me before. But what they very much are talking about is this was a real, that's interesting. They just said a clash of the titans. No, sometimes they just bring things to me. I have no idea what they're talking about. The clash of the titans. It's an advancement forward. The clash of the titans. There's another meaning there. Given where we're at worldwide right now. I'm not going to go delve into that right now, but it feels like there's something there. Okay. We know the titans were real. Again, I just want to do a little 5-minute piece here. They have trouble stopping. So I'm just going to leave you with that for now. But anyway, my point in that is the lunar eclipse was a massive shift, a massive movement forward. And again, remember, this is about frequency and vibration. So we stepped into a new frequency. Now, remember, that's not all of us at the same time. It's some of us that are ready for that. But the thing is, with our alignments and with the sun doing all the things it's doing and all of this is still coming from deep inside us. These higher frequencies are from us. We are the universe. The universe is within us. So what we're doing in this journey, no wonder it's so much an inner journey, coming back into self, right? We're finding those frequencies within ourselves through our heart space. Through our heart space for ourselves, first and foremost. Because, it's kind of the air mask thing, right? Like, put your air mask on before you help others. Or, how can you really love others until you kind of fully love yourself? And I know that's a journey. But really moving in that direction of that deep heart space feeling within self and doing all the things that we've talked about, choosing what serves, creating from within. All of this is within. The universe is within. So again, this whole point here is this eclipse is moving us into this time where we're going to be able to, where we are feeling more individually, very much so, but then collectively in this heart space. All right. So really thinking about, the frequency that you're selecting. All right, within your day to day, and really making a choice. What frequency do you want, right? So I always show you this visual representation of 3D here. I'm trying to make it simple. 3D here, 5D here, and here's all this 4D kind of that we got to get through, right? So a lot of what we're doing now is moving through this 4D, all right? And we have a tendency to think, I'm moving through a time and space frequency kind of situation. I got to get there. Well, it's inside of us. It's inside of us. We need to pull that from within to create our without. Okay, so again, that could probably be a whole video in itself, but I just really want you to center on self and understand that frequency, those higher vibrations, those higher dimensions, they come from within. They're there for you to access. The other part that they brought up to me, and we had a little conversation about this, kind of usually as I'm either cleaning my house, walking around the house, I don't know, cooking, whatever, is right now what we're doing is this is all about unifying with our higher self. Again, you can look at it as this collapsing in or us rising into that ability to connect in with our higher self on a day-to-day basis. And then that's how we're actually living from, okay, as the human. Additionally, and this is similar to what I just mentioned, but really putting your energy into what you want to build and create from your heart space forward. Okay, what is it that feels right for you? That's where that answer is coming from. Okay, that's where that answer is coming from. And as we do that and we build from within and understand that all of those frequencies and vibrations and dimensions and all the new places we're going to are within us, as we start accessing that, oh my gosh, what do we want to create out of that? We start creating from that. All right, creating our new way forward, not only as individuals but as a collective. So I'm going to just leave you with that today. Those are some of the few messages I wanted to share before I send you over to Jennifer and myself talking. So yeah, I'm just going to do that now, and then I will wrap up with you in the end. So thank you again so much for joining the two of us. So I got to ask, how have you been in all this craziness, and just what
Uh,
what
Well,
what do you want to share today?
I was going to ask you the same thing because I know like you've been putting videos on. I haven't been really good about watching everything, and I'll tell you why. As soon as I turn my focus to anything,
Mhm.
it bubbles up in my field and everything, my thoughts, my intuition,
Oh
my
yeah,
safety, it comes on me so strong that I
same.
cannot put focus somewhere unless I am ready to have clearings, information, intuitions, assimilations, integrations just show up. We're
Okay,
ready.
mine is a probably a microcosm of yours. I bet I know exactly what you're talking about, and I cannot. And I want to hear more about this, but I cannot focus on certain things at all because I know what will happen.
You have to be ready. And so I haven't been watching as much as you're like,
I
I'll
get it.
kind of brief on what you've been putting out in your channel, but I don't really focus in really deep because I know it'll be a project, right? No
Yeah.
matter what, it'll all show up and then I'll be working. So I kind of keep it light, and I'm trying to keep kind of in a little more of a stream where I'm not dragging it to me as much. I'm trying to keep it where I'm staying in a the present, the ever present.
Mhm.
And then what comes on that I'm focusing on, or I'm allowing it to balance itself out. Because if I do focus too much, it's like pulling things way out from the bottom, and then saying, okay, and I may have picked you up too early or too late. And then it tries to, it feels a little bit cumbersome.
It's
So
like colliding energy. It's like I don't. It. It's just like we're more kind of open to it, and it shows up. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it just
I'm so sensitive to it. I have to like,
same.
so, almost like try to tone it down, try not to focus too much on, because it doesn't matter what it is, Carolyn. I could be watching a TV show that has nothing to do with me thinking or talking about anything esoteric. I might want to throw something funny on because I feel like laughing and not thinking, right? And it could be just a undercurrent of a little bit of a thing that's in a joke.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It
Uh-huh.
brings up this whole energy. It's like the frequency of
Yeah.
whatever it pulls from things that are just, it doesn't matter where. There's no distance, there's no um distance from anything right now. So even if it's
No.
a little comet that has like a little twist of a frequency in it, well, a bunch of stuff with that same frequency will show up. And when I say show up, for me it shows up in impressions. Sometimes I get visions of it, sometimes I a full body feeling of it.
That's me usually. Yeah.
Emotions, a lot of emotions.
Yes.
I get a lot of other pieces of information throughout all history, all genres. It doesn't matter
Oh.
if they're related or not. They show up like almost like a collage, like those big things on a wall where somebody's trying to solve a crime and they've got pictures everywhere and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
all. If it's an undercurrent, sometimes these things will show up. Like we all have a little bit of that frequency that you just felt.
Hmm.
up almost like that. And I see this big, huge wall with all of these seemingly unrelated things, but being tied together from this little frequency, things that look like maybe they need to come together and have some form of integration, some way all together to make sense so it can resolve and start again.
Do you think that's what you do?
It's part of what I do. I think
Yeah.
time. Now, one thing that I have noticed is there's an underlying resistance, and I'm feeling it right down the center of my head and across the top.
Okay,
With,
I'm getting something. I'm getting something. Let me just share it real quick, and I want to see what you think. I just got the word, and it has to do with you. Seamstress. Sewing things together energetically. I don't know. I just got this seamstress feel.
there's part of me that's sewing it together. There's part of me
Yes.
tearing it apart. Now, part of the tearing apart some of the of existence, a lot of times say the fabric of reality. Okay. So you think about fabric, kind of like the fabric, and everything's playing out on the fabric. The fabric doesn't necessarily act the same way as the players on it. So the players on it like come together and then they reassimilate in some other way and they do something else. They're not really holding the fabric, or else the fabric gets pulled together and clumped up. And that's happened in the few places where the fabric is getting pulled on too hard. And that's where I can feel this part. So it seems that there is some sewing together. There also is some pulling apart, but there's also some clearing off of the fabric. The fabric needs,
Yeah.
So, and in a few cases with some things, I feel a lot like time travel. So things like looking glass technology or jumping, some form of technology at some point in our past, future, present, where we start tinkering with time travel. And our consciousness at the time that we decide to try it is not, it's still thinking about time travel like Back to the Future. Like you got to get in something, go fast,
Right.
get there, and then figure out how to get back. Movement through big distances, right? And that's the consciousness of this program, or future society, or alternate society that decided to start tinkering with time travel. Now, the truth about time travel is you experience different points of so-called time by removing yourself from time into the ever-present. And then you would move and you could then re-engage. But actually going from a point of time to another is ripping the crap out of the fabric. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah. So part of the sewing it together, might look like I'm putting it together for something new, or it might actually be, oh my goodness, you tore it in half trying to time travel.
Right.
And fix it and get you off of it. You stay on this side of it, not that side. And it's like they try to time travel with a, just right through fabric. So it's two ways. Time travel is one of those understandings, those pushing the envelope of technology, of understanding of consciousness, of ability to do things as that either we remember being able to do or that we want to do, but not quite having the consciousness that gets you to where everything happens in the ever present.
And that's okay. Wait. So then what I'm getting, tell me if this is accurate or what you're getting, is the ripping of the time travel is when you're not in the ever present, or that consciousness, and you're not in that consciousness space. Oh, yeah.
Trying to travel where you actually are perceiving it is at taking something and going a distance and then having to come back, or jumping from just and physically moving your body through distance is ripping the daylights out of, and I can feel my body like I'm like, ow, that hurts. Ow, what happened there? Ow. Yeah. And coming out, it is usually related to some form of trying to travel to the past or to jump to the future, or to travel, jump timelines, but not let go of one to go to the other. They're
Oh,
trying to
that would rip it. I could see that.
hold this one while they're jumping to the other one. So it's like taking the fabric and making
Yeah,
folds.
that's what I was getting. I was getting, you know how threads get weird and they tighten up and things get
Yeah,
bunchy in a fabric? Yeah.
got like a fan, like people fan themselves with the fan. You've got
Yes.
a fan effect in the fabric that's supposed to be smooth.
Oh my God.
Fabric is really lightweight, delicate. It's very sensitive. It's like the best of us, the best way we can possibly feel in sensation through our body, and clarity of mind has to do with this beautiful, what we call fabric. But the fabric world really is, it's a communication system.
Is it a plane of existence? Is it a plane? I keep.
No,
No?
it's more like a platform,
Yeah. Okay.
network, a network where you feel each other, sensations go through it, thoughts go through it.
But it's a flat plane, right?
Ideas,
It's flat.
it's more like ether.
Okay, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing it me being okay.
Oh,
All right, I think we're
very
saying the same thing.
in it. It's like your nervous system is all I keep wanting to say nervous system. It's like all, and the health and cleanliness of it creates a faster speed and a higher ability.
They're showing me to try to help me understand, like a fiber optics look. They're trying to show that feel.
That feel normally isn't like something you could touch, reach out and touch. It's very subtle. But if you start traveling with a body, right, and stuff, you're adding mass. And so now it's starting to have something that you can, it's starting to have texture to it. Oh my God. Now it's starting to have something you can actually reach out and grab it. And it doesn't want to be reached out and grabbed. That's not really it's a subtle.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. So just differentiate when we talk about time travel with the body, people may be like, well, how would you even do that? How do you even do that anyway? So you're talking about if you were getting in an actual vehicle, right? And taking the bot versus an astral kind of feel, or what?
Right. Well, see, what the thing is, it's, if you think about like the movies, let's look at this, and funny, let's talk, just a side note on movies. Everything manifests from something. Mm-hmm. So even your movies, even your directors, your writers, even motion pictures, there is some form of a muse, there's a writer, mm-hmm. and a story. Okay, that does not come from nowhere. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the stuff that we see appearing in our theaters, we think, that's just a movie. It's nothing. Nothing comes from nothing, right?
Oh yeah,
somewhere. So if you think about some of the stuff you see in movies, how they've depicted time travel in movies, they usually enter something with their flesh.
Yes.
And then they're transported in one way or another with their flesh.
Yes.
Or else, and then they reappear with their flesh.
Oh, and that's the ripping. That's where we're having problems.
Is if you want to experience a different point of the present, your flesh wouldn't move. You would tune yourself to that, and it would come almost to you in the sense that you would change your frequency, and then this body seems like it's there having the experience, but you haven't thrown your flesh through distance.
No, that makes sense. Is that connected then to the ability to do that to a like strong meditation practice to be able to center, be in the now, and then align?
And you know who always shows up for me when I'm like, oh my God, everything's chaos? Is Eckhart Tolle's face. I love him. He's so good.
Oh, he's so cute.
Yeah. So probably the best, most basic, straightforward way to remember or to practice being that book he wrote, the
Power of Now.
Power of Now. Yes. Yeah. That's right.
That was one of the first books I read. My awakening started. I probably need to go back to that again.
Power of Now, and just being in that moment, being in that presence where everything opens up.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually what travel would be. And
Sure.
being somewhere else without a body, you're not somewhere else without a body. Your body is what's tuning to that. You have the bodies right
That
here.
makes some, yes, yes.
You don't
It's a,
need
it basically it's like a radio station. It's frequency shift
right.
so that you can access that point in time.
So the sad part about it is, they say even in the movies they'll tell you when you jump and you come back, you're never coming back to the same version that you left. Now that's true. Do you want to know why though?
Yeah.
Your body didn't survive. Okay. So that jump, you would be ripping apart your body to do that.
So
Okay.
what do you come back to then?
Alternate. It's
Oh,
okay. So they're jumping their body everywhere, but their body does not survive the way they're doing it. Sadly, about that is that body now has to find a way to reassimilate. And so when we start talking about things that are just out there, weird stuff going on, um, strange behaviors, disorders of the mind and nervous system, um, there's a lot of clutter now from bodies, okay,
yeah.
trying to do this, and there's just stuff, okay, so that body now has to find a way to methylate, to clean itself, to go through its method of what we call decomposition, but there's a cleaner way to even do that. So there's a lot of stuff left, and it's very, very hard on the body. So you start seeing as a collective, the group, where are we suffering? We're suffering with mental disorders, in nervous system
Mhm.
disorders, um, toxicity of the brain and spinal cord, dementia, Alzheimer's, fibromyalgia. Okay. That is not unrelated. We all exist, experience, sense, communicate, and intuit through this beautiful fabric.
Yes.
We start misusing that fabric and throwing
Oh,
flesh into it, it's going to have a repercussion of entanglement back to our collective
oh, that
group,
makes so much sense.
right? So our body, we start looking around at our collective. Where are we suffering? We're suffering in our nervous system being
Yes.
how toxic, too tight, something's wrong, too much flesh, too fat, too whatever. Why would that be happening? It's because we are misusing the way we are putting our body into our representation of our larger system of what shows us what a nervous system would be, which would be this beautiful fabric of network. That's how our nervous system works, right? We're misusing the cosmic example of our nervous system. So our nervous system is not going to be very nice. It's going to be toxic. We have methylation problems, all these kids on the spectrum, all of these people with ADHD, dementia, Alzheimer's, and autism all represent the same way in the mind and the spine. It also has to do with the COVID. It started out being called coronavirus. If you,
Right.
corona is this
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
crown. So coronavirus is a inflammation of the brain crown. So that's right about the time we started messing with some of the stuff, at least at that plane. Okay, it started
Okay.
feeding into our field, from other areas of starting to come to us a little bit about time travel. So that's just one little example of how we have to have our body and our mind, our consciousness, I should say, to the level that's necessary before we start having access to our internal
Okay.
technology.
So
Where
let
we
me ask you this question then. Based on what you just said, what is the individual resolution to those kinds of things, to us being affected by
Mhm.
that fabric being disturbed? in a way it's not meant to, which then affects the nervous system of the whole, right? And then individuals. Like what is there a oh, go do this to be able to, keep that from impacting you? I know the now moment, that whole thing. I mean, that is like connecting in meditation or whatever, to be able to focus on what is now is super important, right? And it helps us do that as we go through this journey. But would you get any sense of what, like, because a lot of people will probably feel like, oh, well, then who's time traveling and who's doing this? And I'm affected by it. What do I do? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. The only thing I could say, you're more powerful in your body than you realize.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you realize, you kind of start to see this. Okay, well, what can I do? Well, number one, the first thing is, oh my God, I don't want to experience that. If I myself in the present moment, and operate from the present moment, I can kind of avoid it. But
Okay.
that's true. But also, when you are tuned to the ever present, you have a collective or proximity effect. So being in nature
Mhm.
and allowing yourself to even in like walking meditation, you don't have to be in full meditation. You can get yourself to where you operate in conversation, in exercise, in sleep, in awake, in everything. In that's what the Power of Now, that book, is about. Kind of, you operate in that place no matter what you're doing. You get so good at it that you don't have to sit down in meditation.
Yep. I know what you're talking about. Okay, that makes sense. And that's how you're not ripping through space and time or through the fabric.
So how you relate to larger energy output,
Yeah.
like the planet, the collective, right? So when you feel like you can achieve that, and you just do it like sitting on the ground, or by or with larger groups of people around you, it has kind of a exponential effect. So I think that right now it's almost like where nature's rebelling against man, because they're misusing their tech, and
Yes.
it's harming
Yes.
the larger and larger energies that support our existence. So we have to keep very mindful that if we want to exist the way that we do, we can't do it as a parasitic entity. We have to, be aware of what we're doing on the larger scale. So, that, but what I've noticed is disturbing. It's sad, but it's also just like really dark. When you feel like this really deep, dark, or like evil, or just like they've been lost, distorted, mentally disturbed energies or entities or thought forms, I can tell you that most often, if not always, those are remnants of bodies that did not, particles of the body that did not survive the jump.
So
Okay.
like trauma remainder, or like trauma response from the body that didn't make it.
There's actually flesh. There's actually flesh and particles of the body that are in a state of travel that didn't survive.
Oh, I see. Because of that travel that you're saying isn't the way to do that travel, essentially that process they used.
Yeah, the body is really awesome. It has layers of it that correspond to the layers of your brain, and like theta, delta,
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah.
that allow you to do different types of movements through things that perceive time. And some of these projects, I noticed, I've started to look into some of these projects with the CIA and other groups where they were doing remote viewing.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted somebody to be in a awake state, but still get into a room where nobody could see them and listen. and they tweaked the way the body works and then moved that person without letting them disengage from the flesh entirely. And I think that's one of the ways it started with us anyway. The flesh wasn't allowed to stay perfect in its little body, and the other layer that's made to travel, go travel. They tried to make it kind of half and half, or anchoring in somebody, and kind of, so they started traveling, but they were not, they were pulling the body. So a lot of these like hauntings, or um, trapped spirits, these phenomenon that we think about that are like, whatever. I think we messed up when we did not use our tech right, and we traveled the wrong way, and we got some of the flesh, the body that is entangled with, caught in some kind of a midpoint of not knowing where it is and being very traumatized. And that's kind of where that energy is.
So in their case, that would have been during their passing from this incarnation, or
yeah, like like I said, people that do that, they come back from it and they think they're fine. They think they're just back home doing whatever. They're not. They've lost part of themselves in that. And that part of their lost self is the one who is disturbed in a way that is lost, or
but give me an example though, because I want to make sure I understand what you're talking about. So like a real world like example of what would happen with somebody that would like that
so
would occur. Do they even know? They wouldn't even know. Are they trying to time travel, or and I know we're being affected by the collective, obviously we're all one, but how is that?
yeah, it really starts to play into the collective. So just little phenomenon, things that we have that we think of as ghost stories or little things. We have to remember our consciousness is housed in flesh. Okay, so if we misuse the flesh body analogy, and consciousness flesh gets displaced, flesh has consciousness. Okay, so you'd say consciousness in flesh is doing something that flesh wasn't designed for, and that might be some kind of place that somebody traveled and they don't really know, and they're there and they're like, how am I here? I don't know what I'm doing, and nobody's here, and it's scary here. And there's people that have been there for a long time and sound like and feel like they're very ungrounded and maybe have lost their mind. So these fields are like almost like tormented in a way, because and I'm not sure of grounding. I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. To I know our bodies have an amazing way to constantly self-maintain with a state of cleaning, with creation and destruction happening in perfect balance at varying degrees depending on the situation. Now, we tend to think of rejuvenate, keep it alive, antioxidants, frequencies, life, and we'd never focus enough on the destruction and how important it is to have life and destruction in perfect balance, because that's how you rejuvenate.
That's the renewal. Yeah.
It has to break down in order to, so a lot of times we're bad about breaking down. We just want to keep pulsing life into dead tissue. Okay, we need to allow ourselves to oxidize. We have the highest level of the highest level oxidizer is what we breathe, oxygen. Okay, oxygen is the highest, most strong oxidizer that exists. And here we breathe the stuff to live. Mm-hmm. You have to imagine our body is a rejuvenation machine, right? So we don't need to focus so much on artificially keeping ourselves alive. We need to be able to balance it where we allow things that are broken down to fully break it down, and then our cells renew themselves.
So what would be, me, I'm always trying to get to the example of like real world. Like in that way, what would we shift and change in then the individual human journey individually? Like what would we do differently? Do you have any sense of that? Like what?
Um, I do think that our medicine, some of the stuff they're doing now with peptides, some of the things that they're doing, they're trying to artificially prolong life. Okay, and that's it's our nature. We want to live, right?
Mhm.
However, um, oxidation is important.
Mhm.
Oxidation is very important. So I think one of the really, if I'm not mistaken, they have like those hydrogen oxygenated
Yeah.
hydrogen. I think that is beneficial for this body to help oxidize and in balance,
Mhm.
to help keep the gunk out. You know what I mean? You have to let those cells die and turn over, um, and don't artificially prop it up to keep them feeling or looking alive. I don't know if this is a good example. It's sad, but it's true. The doctor who was famous for um, anti-cancer from vitamin C,
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
the vitamin C to stave off cancer. He died,
Mhm.
okay, of cancer. Vitamin C is is an antioxidant. Oxidation is what kills cancer. So vitamin C is actually not.
It's the opposite.
Yes, and we in a way for rejuvenation, yes, it's very good for new cells,
Okay.
but you can't hold on to the old ones. You got to let them break down and go. So creation, destruction. Don't be afraid of the destruction. It has to be in balance. So for me, I have a little word I use now because I've come to the concept. So now I just say it needs its complement, complement, complement. So if I'm feeling something that's a little heavy or a little whatever, one way or the other, too much life force, like overexcited, like I got like a surge of it. I will say the same thing. Compliment. If I feel too broken
So it's like
down,
it's finding balance, the balance.
it's creation, that big surge of life force, and the destruction. So they're in balance and they're running on opposite each other, right? And I think that might be our way of cleaning our body and our nervous system is staying in balance of creation and destruction, and and staying with its complement. So that the elements, our elemental table of how we exist, the elements are always in complement with each other in an exact, in a perfect balance of creation and destruction, cleans my body, my nervous system, and therefore translates to the cosmos, etc. Um, so it comes back to, for us, we're here with the body. The body is the way to do it, it's just, but that,
Let me take you back though to the time travel thing.
sure.
So here's where my head's spinning around with like, okay, so we got all these people on this planet with all these issues and whatnot, and collectively being affected by and I'm probably saying this all wrong, but like inappropriate time travel by whomever. It's not you're are you saying it's not necessarily them individually because they're not knowing they're time traveling? Do you know what I'm saying? Or is
Right.
it people you're talking about that are actually like, okay, I'm going to time travel today. I'm going to do the thing. Or you know what I'm saying? Like I want
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to understand how that
So
works
there,
day to day.
okay, it's technology based on consciousness. Okay. So a technology based on consciousness, typically you embody, your body is capable of doing things that match the level of consciousness, conscious understanding that keeps you in perfect harmony and
Yes.
with all of creation.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in some or cases, the body fell out of harmony where a
Okay.
conscious maybe witnessed through remote viewing, maybe, I don't know, witnessed or came across or maybe had this beautiful, unbelievably gifted child. And they somehow crossed a higher consciousness body with a lower consciousness body. And the technology from one was starting to be used by the other. Okay. And they used it incorrectly. So it crossed at some point. It doesn't mean that we're all doing it by, and being
No, but it's all based on level of consciousness, though.
something
Which,
happened.
okay, let me throw this out, and because this is kind of coming in, I want you to comment on this and then continue on. But so the higher consciousness, as we go through this journey, there's this idea that, and I've actually kind of felt like I've seen this a little bit, where we won't have as many physical issues, have as many mental, emotional issues like that.
There,
So that's what?
there isn't any,
Right.
actually.
Okay. But I mean, you start to notice this, I think, in the journey, right? And, some people aren't going to the doctor as much. They just don't need to. Like, they don't, I'm starting to see this. This is
Yeah,
what you're talking about?
that's actually what your body starts to tune to when you stay
Because
in.
because your consciousness is higher, your body is coming along with that
Right.
consciousness.
Plus,
Yeah.
it puts you say for instance, if there's a balance in the imbalance in the force, right, and you put yourself into that ever present, go into, you are creating this amazing space where your body and the cosmos and your collective and all of these things can find their equilibrium again. And that anomaly or glitch that happened somewhere where it crossed lines can start to just readjust. Okay. And then everybody's methylating again properly. So it's not the end. It's not the end of the world unless we let it. Right? We got it. If we can, I would, the present is the present, ever present is where everything coheres.
Yes. So let me just interject because I keep getting this visual. I want to understand, see what you think. So what I'm getting a sense of is that in that now moment, and as we continue to grow in that higher consciousness, the body, as we just said, will start to shift and change, potential for less illness, all of that, or goes away completely. But what I'm getting then is, and tell me if you think I'm explaining this right, is by us going through this process that we're going through awakening, right? We're ironing out the fabric. The fabric that you're talking about that gets all like this is we're able to iron that out for the collective, and the more
we're letting go, we're letting go of the subtle fabric with our flesh. So the subtlety
yeah,
of fabric that
yeah,
is
okay,
like a mist,
okay,
or you know it's there, but you can't actually touch it. So we're not trying to add flesh to it to make it heavy,
right,
right?
right,
It cleans. It's like the fascia in your body that helps your body move.
right. And by us, this group doing that, going through that, then that cleans things up for the others coming.
Yep, yep.
Okay,
Share
okay,
that. Share,
okay. You
nope.
just spoke to, I think what you are also explaining is a much more etheric, maybe? I don't know if that's the right word, much more uh, invisible understanding of the awakening.
Yes,
I
ether.
mean,
The fourth stage.
yeah,
It's a interesting elemental. Uh, some of it was made. Some of it is we're coming into contact with it because of the just the consequences of the mixture. Other we're coming into uh, meet it because it's here to assist in the unbunching of what happened. Okay, so there's a couple that are. So some of it is kind of a newer looking thing that took on some characteristics because, for instance, like, all right, so let's say the concept of like singularity. It's where
oh yeah.
everything is
Mhm.
one. Okay, and so when you're in separation. It kind of breaks down into separation this way, but when you return, you assimilate, reassimilate, and you come back to where you're just one with it again. And there's no real identity difference between this when you return, like singularity. Well, in some of these with like fabric, let's say you return without breaking down, deconstructing properly, and you go through the fabric. And so this fabric here that has no bodies is just it's just one thing. It's one consciousness. It doesn't think of itself as more than one thing. It's just one. Now has like someone's poking through it here and having maybe a few a few that think they're up there having a conversation. There's no conversation. There's just one of us here, right? So in that sense, you can start having some kind of accommodation has to be made or for that anomaly that has just occurred. A separation went past singularity. So what's going to happen? Something is going to be made there. There's going to be something that is created because of that anomaly, right?
Yes.
Now it may look like a big bunch. The people or the collective involved might, I don't know, start having problems with, say, maybe tumors, fascia dysfunction. I don't know, a bunch of stuff right here that went past singularity. Brain tumor is what comes to me. But
wait, brain tumors because of what?
What I just described happening on a etheric plane would have manifested in a human body like a brain tumor is what I'm getting right now, kind of my impression of that. But no, I'm not getting a brain tumor. No, I'm getting a positive brain tumor.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is now other energies, other creative energies, other essences that are part of and have always been, they're infinite, they're not beginning or ending, they just are, that are finding new things being created with their essence, because before that they were over here where they didn't have any of these things and now they do. So they're joining the situation with solutions or just other things, right? So we're starting to, I know everybody else, starting to feel different types of energies, different creative energies, different types of destructive energies, different things like different formats or variants of, say, ether, plasma. So it's kind of like, it's almost like a think tank in a way where new situations arrive, there has to be a solution or it doesn't survive. And creation tends to, answer that edge that we keep pushing, right? So there's different types of things, like with the body, for instance. The body may say, okay, if in order for your bodies to survive what just happened here, these particular elements of creation that were affected have transformed and come up with this new substance that your body will have to be able to accommodate, or we won't be able to figure this out and have you still embodied. So your body may start feeling floods of different types of frequencies or things that you haven't really experienced before. Hot or cold, hot or cold sensations, because some of those elements are very potent, very, very potent. They would have to be able to figure out how to get to you without killing you in order for you to have that.
Right. But okay, but then let's stop there for a second. So as this is invisibly happening to people and they don't have a clue, right? Even those of us going through awakening.
Yeah.
What is so that, I don't want to explain this, because we know there's all the bodily stuff that goes along with this journey per what you're talking about. What is the resolution for that for people? Is there a resolution, or is it what we typically go through an awakening of all of a sudden we're kind of eating different, or all of a sudden we don't know, we're not consciously going out there doing, like, things shift.
Well,
Like you're
you'll
like,
know
oh, I don't want to eat that anymore. Oh, I want to go exercise. Oh, I want to be in nature. Like what it makes that be able to not have the body just completely
it
for
all
what you.
comes to in 0 point in presence. So in
Yeah,
presence,
that's
you
what
want
I.
to have
Yeah,
the upgrade, basically the latest software upgrade, the latest body upgrade, hardware upgrade. It's going to be because all of these other elements and these larger plate, larger essences, they all operate in the present. So when you
yeah.
to your presence, your body's going to get the latest
So your
solution.
presence is key. The presence, being in the
Well,
moment, being in the now, not living in the past with all the troubles you went through, not focusing on the future and all the awful things that could possibly happen, or just the future in general.
if your
Right? Is that what
body,
you're saying?
yes, and if your body starts to show signs of like it's starting to break down, don't freak out. It
No.
might break down a little bit, okay?
Well, I think that happens with us in the awakening for sure.
It's okay though, because you should have the balancing effect of the other coming up to meet it
Yeah.
too. Body might change. You might feel things like different types of energies. I've noticed too, like stellar energies feel very strange in our flesh body. I like it. I think it feels good, but I can tell that it is stardust and it is so
Yeah.
stellar. I feel like I'm out an astronaut without a suit.
But
Okay.
for an individual to accommodate this and to be able to, is there something consciously they should do? Because so much of the spiritual awakening journey happens just kind of naturally, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm a different person. I mean, there's a lot we do, but it's not like how we go to school and learn to do a thing, and then you go do it. This is very innate. It's an innate part of us that comes back up to actually do the thing, and then we become a different person in that process. So is it a matter of just allowing and following the process, staying in the now? No wonder meditation is honestly so important. And allowing all those energies to then come in and influence us in
I
that
like
way.
the idea of, when you're talking about big, big energies, we're talking about solar or beyond solar, some of this big stellar, big cosmic energies that are at play right now, huge stuff. And you're
Yep.
thinking, body, how am I going to handle this? Well, you're going to handle it because you're standing on a big, giant planet that's going to help you. You're standing right on it. So when you do your presence on your planet, where your body is touching this big, giant planet that's a cosmic player too, then you don't feel, you feel like, hey, I can do this. I'm part of the whole thing, right? So when I don't, you think your body's small in, comparison to some of these huge things, yes, but you're still standing on one, right? You're standing on a big, huge planet that is in communication and with all the essences that we're talking about. But the body itself, and animals too, man, they're good at this. There's nothing. They stay in the present. They don't,
Yeah.
look at your puppy.
Oh, you
You
know
can,
what I just heard? And they accept their upgrades very easily.
oh my God, they're great. They're
Oh my God. It is because they're in the now moment. Oh.
it, yes, and they're
Because
not.
here's what I'm getting. They just said a word, a waveform, and they talk differently to me. But like if you're here in the now moment, all good and well. Here comes the waveform or the upgrade or whatever, and it finds you. But if you're all over here and you're moving past, present, future, like the waveform's trying to find you, or the upgrade or whatever, however you want to, and it's like, oh God, I can't get her.
It's
You know
too
what I'm
much
talking about? Does that make sense?
debris. It's debris in the way. There's too
Yeah.
much
It
debris.
creates the debris. Yeah, by us doing that.
Too, what I was talking about, the debris can be some of the stuff that we left when we did misuse this, and it's hitting that, and those are trying to figure out what to do with. Okay, so is your upgrade going to hit a
Right.
spirit form entity it's kind of a thought form entity that's kind of gone crazy a little bit, or is it going to hit your body where you can do it and it's clear, right? You know what I'm saying? So,
Yes.
and you have to remember this too. Okay, mental illness. Mental illness is something that is still uh, manifested in our subconscious mind. Okay, So when we walk around day to day in our conscious mind talking to it, our subconscious is still there and it's still feeding our reality, right? So, and our reality is a reflection of what we put out. So if we leave these things unchecked, we start to see things play out in our reality, like not like mental illness, but it can go further than that. It is distortions, glitching, homicide, um, war, um, feeling abandoned, trauma, um, not wanting to go on. Okay. Now, if we're feeding our reality these things, even if we don't necessarily personally feel them, because of the subconscious mind, the planet and its surrounding support will respond. Okay. So if there is a like I don't want to go on, I want to end it all, right? Because it's so bad. That's coming out and the planet's getting it, right? So you can see how important it is to mind the cosmic, how to say this, really take care of your body. I mean, I don't, it's really comes to the body. You know, we say these things all the time. And I've mentioned this
I
before.
know.
We say these things all the time. And when I say it again, it has a deeper meaning because it's not that it's not untrue. It's just that it's so important. Nature,
Yeah.
nature, body, animals.
Oh my God, it's come back. It's even more important now. It's come into my awareness. I've known that, but there's the messages are everywhere about nature, nature, nature.
Yeah, and just really self-care, take care of
And
your body.
self-care. Absolutely. Yes. And here's the thing is that all seems really basic and obvious, and we talk about it all the time, but that's the way we have to think of it. It's actually a much bigger impact, or how do I say this, on an energetic level that is hard, just kind of what we were just talking about, is hard for people to understand, right? But when you boil it down to what you do each day,
Yes.
those things.
Yes. And you know, we talked about this too, how we can do this each day. So we're not, you and I never assume that your average Joe's walking around thinking about metaphysics
No.
or about astral this or somebody else's, not bubbled up right or whatever, that's not probably happening. So for you know, that being said, I lost my train of thought right in the middle of that. But when we are aware,
Oh, okay.
it's, um, I think, incumbent upon us to be aware of kind of activating each other. And I know you are a activator, correct? You're a collective activator.
Yeah, I'm an activator for individuals, but I'm also a land and a collective clearer and transmuter. So it's a kind of funky arrangement of things.
What we're talking about too. Um, but what I'm saying, we, without knowing it,
Mhm.
we do it with our kids, we do it with our friends, everything. Anyway, on a social level, but on an energetic level, we tend to really kind of grab off of each other and take things, right? Or I'm having a problem, I'm going to lean on you instead of making yourself do it. And energetically speaking, I think it's very important to just have the thought or intention of when, especially for healers too, and empaths, because people just come to you, that their body is more equipped to handle the exact match of the problem that they're having than you are. They actually house the perfect match to the imbalance that they're having, has to go into their body to match, resolve, create, destroy, and clear. They have it. You don't have it.
Mhm.
So when you want to lean on, or somebody wants to lean on you, or you start feeling energy being pulled from you, there's a way to just kind of hold your stance in that you're understanding my intention is to always gently facilitate you right back to yourself and help you match the complement of that issue that you're having within your own. So at least you have the chance to try to resolve it.
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
And feeling that way, give it back to them, give it back to them, give it back to them, because in their own, with their match, is going to create the circuit.
Yeah, because you can't do it for them.
You can't,
I mean,
it's
we
just,
can do things like energy healings and things like that that help move the energy and all of that. But ultimately, you're exactly right. That makes so much sense.
you're doing the same, you're having their body
Yeah.
um, address their own issues within their body with their
Yeah.
energy. So trying to do something for somebody else is just like
No.
putting a Band-Aid on.
No, you can't. All right, everybody. I hope you took a few things away from that conversation and that you enjoyed it as well. So, again, if you're interested in connecting with me for any assistance in your life journey, you can reach out at Carolyn@purplerainhealing.com, or better yet, go to my website to learn more about what I offer, purplerainhealing.com. Again, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.